The car door hangs open, ticking with heat. A hat, a silent testament to a sudden departure. No one left to question. Only tire marks, carving a violent signature across the earth. Beyond the horizon, two young fugitives plan their next move, convinced the world is chasing them. They were not born legends. They were shaped by hard years and restless dreams. She grew up in poverty, bright and sharp-tongued, craving a larger life. He was quiet, intense, learning early that rules rarely favored the desperate. When they met, something dangerous ignited. Not just attraction, but recognition. Each saw in the other a reflection of frustration and hunger. They wanted control. The early days were reckless, but small. Petty theft, quick escapes. They believed they could outpace consequences. Moving faster than fear itself, they treated crime like a game of nerve. The thrill was in slipping through the cracks. But games change when stakes rise. Survival meant escalation. Witnesses later described a strange calm about them. Not chaos, but precision. They moved like people rehearsing a role, measuring risk with cold efficiency. Behind that calm was a shared psychology built on defiance. The first major incident that caught national attention unfolded quickly. A routine stop, a misunderstanding, a moment where time seemed to hesitate. And then, everything accelerated. Shock. Not just at the speed, but the transformation. Two young faces hardened by survival instinct. No return to anonymity. Their names began to circulate. Their movements whispers carried from town to town. Communities felt an invisible tension. A quiet bank reinforced security. A store owner locked doors earlier. Parents called children home before sunset. It was fear without a face, until witnesses described a fast car. Young figures always one step ahead. What made their spree unsettling was the pattern. They never lingered. They vanished before shock settled. It created an illusion of omnipresence. If they could appear anywhere, they could be anywhere. Law enforcement agencies attempted coordination, but communication was slower than the fugitives. Ecologists pointed to a shared mindset. An escalating bond forged through pressure. Isolation intensified loyalty. The world became an enemy force. Survival depended on unity. Yet something stranger happened. Stories began to romanticize them. Letters appeared, praising their defiance. Mythologizing blurred the line, complicating public perception. Behind the legend, two young people trapped in a cycle, demanding constant motion and increasing risk. Investigators faced an unusual challenge. Traditional methods relied on stable footprints. These fugitives built no stable footprint. Evidence was fleeting. Descriptions varied. Law enforcement began studying behavior, anticipating movement based on psychological pressure. Breakthrough came from understanding fatigue. Constant escape erodes judgment. Investigators mapped probable routes, less a chase and more a narrowing circle. Meanwhile, the pair themselves showed signs of strain. Decisions made faster. The bond that once fueled confidence now carried the weight of survival. Trust became both anchor and burden. Final phase unfolded with an eerie inevitability. A quiet setup along a rural stretch of road. A calculated pause in motion. A moment where they believed they were simply passing through. What they did not know was that the chase had shifted from reaction to prediction. The confrontation ended the relentless movement. The road that symbolized freedom became the place where motion stopped. In the aftermath, the scene told a story of contradictions, ordinary and symbolic. Public reaction was immediate and divided. For some, relief. For others, fascination deepened. How had two individuals reshaped national attention? Desperation evolved into notoriety. The tire marks on that dusty road eventually faded. Abandoned spaces returned to quiet routines. But the psychological imprint of their journey remains. The most dangerous momentum is belief, hardened by isolation. Their greatest escape was never from authorities. It was from the ordinary life they once had. A life that might have offered limits but also offered possibility. And somewhere in the silence, investigators were left with a haunting realization. The chase had never been about distance. It was about two young minds racing toward an outcome they could not imagine avoiding. Every mile carried them closer to it. The tire marks a signature of their journey. Their story endures, raising unsettling questions. How does desperation reshape identity? What point does defiance become destiny? And how easily can two individuals convince each other that the world itself is the enemy? Their bond, once their strength, became the weight of their choices. Their names, once whispers, became a national narrative. They were always moving, always running, always believing they were untouchable. But the road ahead had already been mapped. Their destination already decided. They believed they were passing through another ordinary stretch of escape. The long chase had shifted from reaction to prediction. Investigators were waiting,